So welcome. It's really special to have everybody here. So I sit in the form of a Soto Zen lineage, and what I want to introduce to you tonight is the Soto Zen form. And so some of you may be familiar with it, and if you're not familiar with it, I want to introduce it to you and have you try on maybe something different that you haven't tried before. And so with Soto Zen, that this is an eyes open meditation. And if you've never meditated with your eyes open, I always like to use the example of when your eyes are closed and you open them, you have two different experiences. So if you learn to meditate with your eyes open, that when you go throughout your day, you can be in the same presence and awareness as you are when you are sitting in zazen or seated meditation. And so the form of Soto Zen is a 45-degree angle looking in front of you, and if you just take a glance down, and you'll be able to see just about everybody in the room while you're looking down in front of you. And this form of looking down in front of you with a wide view is being very present and aware. Your mind will actually try to focus in on something and take you out of being present. And that's one clue that you've locked into your thinking, is when you focus on something. And this carpet is wonderful for having you think of things. It reminds me of a casino carpet when you walk through a casino. So eyes open, nice broad wide view. Your breath is the foundational point for being present and aware. When you sit in seated meditation, that by following your breath, you can't think of a thought at the exact same time. So you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And if you've ever heard of diaphragmatic breathing, it's breathing about 3 inches below your navel. And a lot of times when people breathe, and I know I used to do this, is I'd say, take a deep breath, and I'd go, well, it's the opposite of that. It's really letting your diaphragm come forward and be relaxed. So when I take a breath in through my nose, it looks like this. So your belly actually comes out instead of in when you take a breath, okay? So if you want to try that, just to put your hand on your diaphragm and take a breath, you have to focus on diaphragmatic breathing in order to let your belly come forward. And if you've never practiced it before and you can't do it, totally okay. Because guess what? You made it here tonight, so you're doing it perfect. All right, so no matter how you sit, you got it down. But I want you to really focus on your breath. It'll bring you back to this wide, broad vision, being very present and aware. When you sit, you see I'm sitting in an upright posture. That's an internal reflection inside your body. So by sitting upright, your internal posture is upright also and present and aware. So you can feel that energy of sitting upright and aware. The hand form that I'm going to introduce you to is called a mudra. And your left hand is out, and your right hand, your fingertips sit right they just overlap just a little bit, and your thumbs touch together very gently. And that goes 3 inches below your belly button. It rests right below it, and you want to relax your shoulders. You don't want to have your shoulders nice and taut. You want them relaxed. And when you're taking a breath, it's the base of that diaphragmatic breath that you're breathing into this mudra of where your hands are sitting. And you can think of like you're cradling a young child or a baby. You can just feel that. And when I was beginning, look at my thumbs for a second. I'd be like, okay, I got this, and I'd be sitting like this, and then my thumbs would like end up like in a form like this, and because I was like, I'm not paying attention to the form is like this, and it's like there's two pieces of rice paper sitting right in between your fingers. Now, this is a mudra that I invite everybody to try. If you want to put your hands here, that's great. If you want to rest them in your thighs, that's great. But this form is a Soto Zen form of seated meditation. So try it out. You may like it. Okay. When I start the meditation, I'm going to start by ringing the bell 3 times. And you're going to see me put my hand up like this. This is a form that's a gasho. It looks like this. And that's a way of saying thank you for when we bow to each other. We're all saying thank you for being here. When we bow, we're thanking ourselves for being here. This is how we start the meditation. What you're going to see is you're going to see me. This is a striker. And I'll say, okay, we're going to begin. We'll start here. And you'll see my hand go up. You don't need to move. And then I'm going to ring the bell 3 times. I'll put the striker here for a few seconds. When you see me put the striker up to my hand, you will see it, even though you're looking down at a 45-degree angle. We all bow together, nice and slowly, okay? And you'll feel the rhythm of the group when we bow together. It's not something we rush. We do it with an awareness that you'll feel the in-syncness of a sangha. It's a really neat feeling when you all bow together. So we start the meditation like that, and we end the meditation like that. So 3 strikes to the bell at the end, and then when you feel or see me put my hands together, then you do the same and do a gasho, and we bow nice and slowly together. No rush at all, okay? Lastly, if you do need to move or adjust your body, I'm going to encourage you to not be in pain or like serious discomfort. I'm going to ask you to move your body. I used to be the guy that would just tough it out. And so if you do need to move, all I'm going to ask is that you move a little slower than you would normally move. So if you're going to move your leg, if you needed to straighten it out, that you do it a little slower than you would normally do it during the day. If you need to change your leg position, I've seen people put their hands like this. If they need to do that, go ahead and do that. And then see if you can return back to a cross-legged position or a seated position that you start out in. Okay, but just move at a slower pace than you normally would to stay in the form of being present and aware as a collective or as a group. Okay, are there any questions? You made it tonight. That's what I'm really excited about. So like I said, you can't get this wrong. We're all doing it. We're all in this together. We're going to sit for 20 minutes to start us off. And then I'll do a 10-minute Dharma Talk. And then we'll sit for 10 minutes to wrap it up. So let's go ahead and get into a position that feels comfortable to you if you're not already. Put your hands either in a mudra or in a certain position. The mudra looks like this again, just to refresh your memory. Just like rice paper is sitting in between your fingertips. Your eyes are open, looking at about a 45-degree angle, just resting, breathing in your diaphragm. Thank you for being here. body around a little bit. Let yourself, if your leg fell asleep, say welcome back. If you're feeling aches, maybe wiggle your butt on the feet a little bit. Take care of yourself. Tonight's Dharma Talk is on zazen and daily life practice. And just to think of what zazen or seated meditation and having a daily life practice of it, where it's your whole entire day, not just the time that you sit on a pillow and meditate. And for a lot of years, I was that rebellious teenager that would sit to get it over with. And I would sit to get it finished. And a lot of the times it would be like I would meditate and get up and I'd start my day at 1,000,000 miles an hour and I wouldn't stop till the end of the day. And I didn't really understand that from the time that I get up and I sit down in meditation, that it actually carries out through my day, and can I bring the awareness of zazen into my daily life practice. And I'd find myself trying to get tasks done or packing in the day and really trying to maximize or be efficient with the amount of time that I had in a day in order to be efficient as, for me, an entrepreneur or a father or a husband. And I was efficient and wanted to just get things over with a lot of the times. And then I'd get into these places where I'd start to do things and it would be like I was more present and aware in this space of like being in the zone. You ever felt that place of where you're in the flow? And I was like, wow, that's just like being on the pillow, where like time disappeared. And whether it was, I used to work on cars, that I would have, be working on cars and time would go by and I'd be like, never even noticed that, 4 hours went by. But yet I got a lot done on a car, and I was very present, focused, and aware. Or being with a client now that I do coaching and consulting, that I feel my presence is so locked in, just like I am when I'm sitting on a zafu. This is a zafu cushion right here. And I would feel the energy of being that presence and awareness in my day-to-day life and practice. And there's a word in Zen called samu, or working meditation. And the idea of that, can I bring the same sincerity and clarity to washing the dishes, to cleaning the bathroom, to doing the tasks that I may do over and over every single day, just like I would when I come and sit down on this pillow. And it really changed my relationship to how I interact with day-to-day activities. And then even in work, if I'm laying grout on tile floors, can I bring that same sincerity to doing something like that? Or being a teacher and teaching with students, to being a landscaper and taking care of the properties that you take care of, to then not even being retired and taking the time for yourself to really nurture, whether it's being in the garden or taking care of your daily life. That you prepare yourself and go through that process with the same upright sincerity that you would when you sit down in zazen or seated meditation. And that's the practice for me, and that I want to encourage for all of you, is to bring that into your daily life and see if you can catch yourself where you bring, when I set up this space tonight for everybody to sit, I do it with such a sincerity and a grace. I'm so honored to set it up. And I love taking it down. I don't want to, I don't have anybody put anything away. I put it all away. Because I do it with that daily life practice, that samu, the working meditation. And so if you can find yourself with these little areas, and you'll notice it'll expand out, that it'll be a daily life practice of zazen. And can you start your day with a bookend of sitting down in stillness and silence, and end your day with sitting down in stillness and silence? Even if it's 3 breaths, that's a bookend on each end. And man, when I get the opportunity to sit for 20 minutes and really take the time for myself, I mainly sit for 20 minutes in the morning. Night times, I'll find myself, I'll lay in bed and I'll take my 3 deep breaths, or I'll come out here and light an incense to honor the day. But that I have both ends of saying, wow, look at all the time in the day that I really got to be present and aware, and my relationships that I got to be present and aware. What a gift to be in gratitude and be with, your relations, that you get to connect and do things from a place of daily life practice. And the training happens on a zafu and a zabaton. This is those two are on the edge of a couch or on the edge of your bed, on a chair. When you start your day and you practice on a regular basis, it starts to spread out through your whole entire day. And it's so cool to watch myself develop it where I can see it more and more, and I actually yearn for the presence and awareness. I don't want to check out. I don't want to watch as much TV. I don't want to scroll as much. I want to really stay in this time that I have on this planet. And it's fascinating. The closer I get into my 50s and 60s, and as we get older, we're here for a limited amount of time. And so to really take the time to enjoy the time that we have here on this planet. Samu, working meditation. Zazen, daily life practice. So encourage you to start your day and end your day with that sincerity for who you are inside, and that connection with that deeper place within inside yourself, what we call your hara. Right down there, 3 inches below your belly button. And when you take a diaphragmatic breath, that you're connecting with that place inside yourself. And it can happen like that in one breath. Before you start teaching, that you take that breath, diaphragmatic breath. Before you start working in the garden, that you take that diaphragmatic breath. And like your space with the garden, that you can enter into the garden, that's a space that you can enter into, and I believe you do every morning when you go take care of your garden. And I watch you two do it with your home temple, so great examples of that for me to practice that for myself as I take care of my zendo, my garden out here, that are plants that I get to be with and listen to and be in relationship with. So as you sit for the next 10 minutes, just reflect on yourself of daily life practice, and how does that feel to be in that for yourself without thinking about it, but to feel it down here in the bottom of your belly, your hara. So thank you all for being here tonight. Again, if you can dust off your zabaton, which is this cushion right here, if there's any lint on it or anything. Fluff up your pillow if you're sitting on a pillow, just like when you came in, and just leave everything how it sits when you got here. And then when we end, if you can not get into a lot of discussion that is more in the heady discussion, hugs and good night are a nice place to be, and we'll exit through this door here and go on with your evening, and see if you can stay in the space of what the Sangha creates to sit together and be together. And then when you wake up in the morning, if you can do 1 minute, great. If you can do 20 minutes, great. Just one breath, great. So, thank you, and I look forward to our next 10 minutes together. Go ahead and get in a position that feels comfortable to you, and we will get started. Thank you for being here online again. I really appreciate it. Good to see you, Ed, Dominique, and I can't read your name, but I see you. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Our DojoX Meditation Sangha. Next week, feel free to invite anybody you'd like to experience this or join us online or in person. And really appreciate you all being here. Thanks for coming to check us out. Priya, Sean, it's great to have you. Thank you for coming online. It's great to share the space with you. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.